Well, good morning to all of you. Can you all hear me? Hello, those who are connected to the online meeting. Do you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Right, thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the delay. That's a slight delay from my end. I hope all the participants are now logging to the meeting. I don't know whether you like this option, but anyway, we'll have to continue at least for today, online mode. And decided to come to the SAB. That's why I got a little bit late. So I'm operating from SAB. I hope without any further delay, we can start the discussion. Can you see my screen here?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. Because we have been conducting online sessions probably a few months ago, but again I am a little new to this after a few months. So if I make some troubles here, please bear with me and help me to conduct the lecture smoothly. Because no one is here to assist me or guide me. I mean, since it is after a few months' time, I may be struggling with some features here. I will continue for a few minutes with the camera. Then I think switching off the camera is all right with you, because no need to. I mean, it may drag. It may take some amount of data as well, additional data. So I hope it's all right to switch off the camera after some time. Okay. And then hope you could find these lecture materials on topic number 3 on operations management. Do you have that with you? Because you will have to refer to that. I think you could. Okay, great. Now our plan is quickly cover this area, one of the important area in our topic, and then of course help you getting a somewhat broad understanding on this decision making or this responsibility, and then move to the other topic as quickly as possible. And for that I need your support in the sense your active participation, listening, and more than anything else, your feedback, because I can't see you. Your feedback is a must for me to get an idea whether you understood concepts, whether you have some doubts, whether you have some further clarifications needed, right? So please interact with the discussion whenever the opportunities are given. You can unmute yourself and then share your views. I couldn't find this message option here. That's what I was looking for. Anyway, then I will time to time give opportunities maybe to get the feedback from you, whether you understood it or not, plus to get your questions, right? I hope you understand it and you will support me to conduct it smoothly. As I noted, the lecture is already being recorded. Am I correct? It indicates that it's being recorded. Am I correct?
Yes, you can see.
Okay. We had around 60 to 70 participants, so that that's not a bad number. That's a good number. So we can move to this topic now. In operations management discussion, this is the 4th session, I guess, where we already completed 2 main areas in operations management. As you can remember, we had a lengthy discussion on fundamentals of operations management or introduction to operations management. We understood in manufacturing businesses, in service organizations, there is this manufacturing department or production department, or now we call it operations department. And then what we expect from the operations department, and then the managing staff or the management staff managing that function we call operations managers, and then their key responsibilities, common decision making areas that we identified. And there we further understood that from industry to industry, because there are different, even in manufacturing there can be different there are different industries, from low tech traditional conventional businesses to high tech businesses, right? So then small scale manufacturing firms to medium to large scale, right? And then of course from one industry to another. So although we as management students here studying the common responsibilities of operations managers, from industry to industry, from business to business, the responsibilities and the decisions that operations managers should make are different, right? Maybe the nature of them are different, although the key concepts are similar. So whatever, I mean, however, in a subject like this, in a subject like this, we try to get the basic idea and the key concepts, and then what we call best practices, right? So in operations management, we understood what are the key decisions and then the subject content, and that helps us connecting all the different topics we are going to cover in this subject. After that, we attempted to cover another important area in operations management. We call it operations strategy, right? That we completed the other day. So hope you remember. We discussed that in businesses, for the business there can be long-term business plans, more than that business strategies that determines or that specifies how a business is going to operate and compete with the other business organizations in the industry. So what are the specific long-term decisions they have taken about their way of competition, how they are going to compete and all that we call the business strategy. And during the last 2 to 3 decades or 4 decades in business education, we have identified not only for the business, even for different functional areas like operations, finance or marketing, having their own functional strategies are important. So that we talked about operations strategy, that is the long-term plan, long-term direction for operations management decision making. And in that topic we discussed what factors to consider, especially aiming at what operations performance objectives. For an example, like some organizations may be planning to compete based on cost, whereas some others on dependability or reliability, whereas some others may be competing on quality likewise, right? So based on such priorities or performance objectives, how should they develop their long-term plan, and aligning with the long-term plan, or in other words, their operations strategy, how a business should develop their operations structure, operations system, is what we are now trying to understand, right? I'm just explaining this background so that you can connect different topics we are discussing, right? Now, under that, we have taken one important area here as the next topic, that is product design. In service organizations or service industries, it goes as service design. Let's see what we are going to cover in this topic, right? Initially, we will define what product design is, what service design is, and thereby we will have a kind of brief discussion on why this is important. What are the impacts of this decision, product design or service design decisions, on various other operations decisions, right? Maybe for day-to-day operational activities, how the product design decisions impact, plus how such decision, how this decision would impact on long-term success of the organization, organizational wide impacts, right? We call them strategic impacts, right? And at the same time, I'll draw your attention to different product designing approaches, practices and methods, because when we complete this topic, you should be aware of some of those common or basic concepts. In addition to that, I will also introduce you this process, what we call product development process, that's explained in textbooks as the best practice recommended for product development. And when you go through the steps of that process, you will understand that will help you getting an idea how to organize product development activities in an organization, in the same manner to some extent services also. And meantime, we will also identify some key concepts, practices related to this decision, product design, that will give you little more additional understanding, right? Now, that is the area we are going to cover. In other words, the learning outcomes of the session. Now, when I interact with you all, those who come for physical lectures, especially these exemption group, I have realized now, I have realized it with the last batch also. Now, probably from your A level, after your A levels or other higher education, you have now focused on one main area, that is a professional career, and then the accounting studies. You are studying accounting related subjects, where you will be studying how different accounting related calculations are made, and then how these accounting transactions are reported, and then the standards, and then making final accounts and all, right? And even when it comes to management accounting, cost accounting, you'll are studying calculations, right? So you take some examples, apply whatever the formula, whatever the decision making steps, get an answer at the end. You're comfortable with the answer. So unlike that, when you are studying other subjects like management subjects such as operations management, you may find it a little difficult. First, you will find it difficult to relate these areas to your subjects like accounting or applied accounting. The second, you may find it difficult to figure out what exactly we are discussing here, then how you will be tested in the final paper or final exam, right? Which is fair, right? Because you have been dealing with calculations and various other decision making tools mostly, right? But in a descriptive subject, management subjects, you should have a clear idea how you will be tested in the final paper. So for an example, now when I introduce you these learning outcomes, it gives you an idea. You should be able to do these things with respect to this topic, right? So that make sure when we discuss the content, you're with me, and then you at the end of the discussion are able to do these things at least, right? And beyond that, you need to have in addition to these basic outcomes, there can be other learning outcomes, other other things you will be expected, right? But you should be able to do these things. I remember the other day, one asked a question after describing a lot of things about operation strategy and all. So what will be there in the final paper, how you are going to test it, right? So that is what I appreciate that question, but this is what you should know in general, so that it will help you to get a clear understanding on other topics also. Clear? Now, on that background, let's move to the content. We are going to talk about product design and service design, the related practices, processes, and concepts that you should know as management students. Right. Now, this is not a big thing or totally new area, but for the majority of participants here, that could be little new because you are in accounting. However, in businesses, especially manufacturing, there is one key decision that impact many other business decisions, especially operations decision, and that is called product design. As you can read and as you can get an idea, it's all about making decisions on their products, right? Now, products, whatever the manufacturing firm that is, right, whether that is a consumer product like toothpaste to shampoo to various other FMCG, fast moving consumer goods to consumer durables like mobile phones, televisions, or whatever, right? That has to be designed. And then products required in the industrial markets, like some manufacturing firms may require different components, parts, right? And then those manufacturers supplying those parts and components, they should design their products before manufacturing. That key decision involved in specifying the product features, the product characteristics. That process is called product design process, which is very important in any industry. Maybe for a very simple product like I think it's missing. Can you Attidiya? Hello? Hello? I'm just a guest here, so that I won't be able to unmute you, Attidiya. Could be due to a mistake. Your mic is switched on. Please mute your mic. Hello. Attidiya, registration number 20. Time to time this will disturb me, so that's what. Can someone contact him if he is not listening to the meeting, although he is connected to the meeting? Hello, Attidiya. Hello. Is there a way that we can communicate this to him? Mr. Attidiya, hello. I'm just a guest here, so that I don't have the host credentials. Right, thank you. Please be aware of your settings so that it will not disturb us. Switched off my camera then. I hope you hope you are listening to me. So that is the issue with online sessions. That is the issue with the online sessions because although the participants are there, we don't know whether they are really working on this session or something else, isn't so? So right, product design, that's all about specifying the product characteristics and features in a way that their products are more acceptable in the market or accepted in the market, and then they can compete in the market well, right? This decision is applicable for simple products to very complicated products even, right? So simple products can be designed easily, whereas complicated products like automobiles to boats to complicated electronic gadgets to and other products, right? It may require the participation of many different experts, specialists, right? And then completing many steps in the process, and thereby at the end of it, they will get the final product. So that is what we call product designing. So more specifically, it involves in specifying, as you see it here, right? As you see it here, it involves in specifying all the product characteristics and features, such as the appearance of it. So the shape, the colors, the sizes, and then of course their features, main and additional features and all. Not only that, in this decision, they together should decide what are the main materials, or more importantly, the components used for the final product. So how the product is made of, right? And then other technical details like the dimensions, the tolerances, and its performance standards, how it's going to operate and all, right? Everything related to the product should be specified by this team or this unit, and through this process, and that is what we call process design. I'll come to service design a little later. That is, the idea is same. For services, they will have to specify what they are going to offer. That is the service design. Now, together with this design, there is another process involved. We call it process design, or more importantly, we call it process engineering. Now, you know, from industry to industry, depending on what they produce, the technology is required, and then the manufacturing strategies or manufacturing steps required would be different, right? A furniture manufacturing firm may require the technology and the machinery and the production process required for manufacturing furniture items, whereas ice cream manufacturing, food processing, right? The type of technology required is food processing technology, and then the production process should make sure various different ingredients from dairy to various other are processed finally into the ice cream, and then they package them nicely as required, as designed, right? And that process should be specified, right? That decision is called process design, right? With the support of manufacturing engineers, industrial engineers. There should be a decision making process. We call it process engineering, that involves in identifying all the product manufacturing related or process related decisions, such as what production steps involved, and then in which sequential order they should be arranged from a starting point to the end to make sure that they can get the final product, right? And what technologies are behind those manufacturing processes and everything, right? So that process is called process engineering, right? Now, when you take these two decisions, product design and process design, as you can understand, these two are very much interrelated, interlinked, meaning now depending on the features you want to have, you will have to change the production process. And when you modify certain production process activities, that will affect on the product and product features, product characteristics and everything. So that at the beginning, what I want to introduce you here, as you may be aware, these two decisions, since they are interrelated, they should be taken together, right? So product design decisions and process engineering decisions should be taken together because these are two very much interrelated decisions for any industry, right? So when they are made this, when they are decided together, companies or manufacturing firms can overcome a lot of practical operational problems, right? So that is what. So product design, it's all about specifying the product characteristics and features. And when we make such decisions, there is another decision that should be taken together, and that is called process design, right? In services, that is called service design, right? Now, unlike in manufacturing, in services such as at a bank, at a hospital, or a restaurant or a hotel, or airline services, or any other services, right? Now, although that is different from products, right? In products, finally, this is what the tangible item you are going to offer. This is the bottle of water, and this is the mobile phone, right? And then the furniture, right? Whatever that is tangible. So once it is specified, that is clear. But in services, their outputs are not so tangible most of the time. They are set of activities together that will provide customers unique experience, isn't so? Right? But from operation side, it's a very clear idea, right? They need to specify what they are going to offer to their customers. In that sense, they need to specify their services. That helps them creating and delivering the same quality service every time to everyone. Hope you get the point. If they don't design the service clearly, they can't identify what exactly we are going to offer and how we are going to offer it. That resulted in they offer different things to different customers at different times, right? Alternative, to overcome it, right? So service design is very important. For an example, take some international or franchise restaurant chains in the world, right? Their services are well designed, right? So wherever, sometimes across the countries, wherever you go, if you go to the same franchise restaurant chain, right, or branch of it, right? When you order some food items, menu items, more likely you get the same taste, same design, same quality in the same manner, unless otherwise they have customized the product to the local country or the local context, right? You tend to get the same quality, same product, service experience wherever you go. At least within the country, whatever the branch you cover or whatever the outlet you go, you tend to get the same service. How come? That is the advantage. That is the way they have designed their services, and according to the finalized service design, or what we call the service package, for our understanding, we consider it as a service package. So that is well documented, well specified, and service providers are given the required training. So no matter who involved in the service creation and delivery, like at a restaurant, who prepare the food items and who serve them, right? No matter who does that, they know exactly what should be given to, what should be offered to the customer. How? They have designed the service in a specific manner, right? So that is what we are going to talk about, right? So we talked about two things: product design and service design. When it comes to services, we talked about since it is various different things that is required to offer to the customers, some not a tangible one output, we consider it as a service package, right? Service package should be specified. I'm not going to discuss more about it, but for your simple understanding, now if we just unpack this thing, right, what included in the service package, it says that it has to be a combination of at least these three things, right? A service package should have at least these three things. Essentially, sometimes in services, it might require some physical elements, in the sense, now although they are offering service, they may use some tangible items or physical elements in the service. Say now, if you take the same restaurant example, right, like Pizza Hut or KFC, the tangible or the physical elements involved is the food items, right? So they will have to specify the menu items, food items, right, that they are going to offer as a part of the service. That could be the main part of the service anyway, but food items, different menu items, different taste, different sizes, portions, whatever. Like at let's say salons or beautification industry, which is a service industry. So they will have to specify. So what chemicals, what cosmetics, and various other physical elements they are going to use in the service, right? That determines the nature of the service partly, right? In addition to that, in the service package, there should be two more things, what we call some unique set of aesthetic benefits. That means how customers feel when they are receiving the service, right? And then of course psychological benefit, some kind of mental stimulation. So how that is different from another, right? So when you go to KFC, the kind of mental excitement that is different from Pizza Hut, right? Although they are the same type of restaurants, but they offer to customers are different because their packages are different. They have carefully thought of it and combined them together. So like from place to place, from one coffee shop to another, from one airlines to another, from one bank to another, if they have designed their services nicely and a specific manner, customers must feel the difference, which is very important in a competitive market, right? So in the first part of our topic, we try to understand how these decisions, product design or service design, should be taken, right? So what are the key steps involved, key concepts relevant, that we try to understand. Then of course we try to understand how this decision affect on other operations decisions, right? So that is the, and then of course in businesses, what are the different strategies, practices used to uh, design products and design services, right? As accountants, you must be aware of these general management sub topics, especially operations management impacts, that will help you performing your jobs better, right? And as a part of operations management, you need to study this topic. Right? Any quick questions on this before moving to the details of it? I will switch off my camera. So any quick questions? Is that clear, or any doubts you have? Is the idea clear? Is the process clear? Hello. As I told you, without your feedback, I will be just talking to the computer, which is useless. Then I think you got the point. Now I have just included this slide to show you, or to link this with the practical requirement. Now I hope you are familiar with this framework, what we call PLC, product life cycle, right? Which means, which explains whatever the new concept, new product that is developed and introduced to the market will have different stages of life, right? Different stages of life, right? So from product to product, how it may move, that can be varied, but there is a commonly accepted product life cycle applicable to any product, right? So accordingly, when the product is developed and then introduced, the market demand is slowly growing, and there then of course it will reach the next level of life. We call it a growth phase, isn't so? And there the market demand for the product will be growing faster, right? And there comes a maturity stage for any product. We call it, that is the phase where the demand for the product would be reached into the highest, right? And businesses would try to extend that period to the maximum period, and eventually the demand for the product will start declining, and that is what we call decline stage. Unless otherwise you do some modifications, the product demand will be declining, and meantime customers may have shifted to some new concepts, new products, and that is why the demand for this product is declining, right? So in a way, this framework, product life cycle, helps managers to get an idea how product should be managed during its life cycles, right? On the other side, it will also help us understanding, now when one product is reaching to the maturity level and then comes to the declining level, in order to continue, in order to maintain the same revenues, right? They will have to introduce new products at regular intervals, right? And for that, they should have implemented these product design decisions, right? And accordingly, their product should be ready in the pipeline to be introduced to the market when the existing products are and their demands are declining, right? So that is the link, and that is how we should understand it. I hope the point is clear, right? So that is why new product developments are needed. Otherwise, businesses may tend to decline their revenue drastically, right? It's not about one product. They'll have to maintain product portfolio, as you know, right? So that for that they need to develop products. We try to understand how new products should be developed and what are the different approaches, methods, and techniques available. Right. I'll come back to this slide little later, but when I give the opportunity, you can ask some questions. Right. Now, by any chance, right, in your career, have you got an opportunity to contribute or involve in product design activities, or in service industries, like many of you are coming from service industries, so involved in service designing? Any experiences you have? Hello? Have you got any opportunity to take part in product or service design activities in your own organizations?
No, sir.
Okay. How about others? How about others? Anyone who could, I mean, who have little bit of experience in this, and then what they did? Yeah. Only one response. What has happened to others? Hmm? Hello?
No, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, maybe even at schools, right? Maybe for various different competitions, haven't you involved in uh, proposing new products or suggesting or developing some new products for the exhibitions and all? Huh? Even if not for companies. Right? Seems not. Right. Now, in businesses, uh, this decision, product design, should be taken by, should be decided by a team, right? More than a single department. It is recommended to get the support of a team that comprises of different experts, right? As you see here, at least these three departments should work together in product design processes, right? And out of them, the main department responsible, or main staff responsible for product designing, is the product development team, right? Product development team, they are the product development experts, specialists with the relevant experience and knowledge in the relevant technology and engineering fields, right? They can convert the product concepts into final product designs, right? Using the engineering and technical knowledge required for product designing, right? But at the same time, these two departments, like marketing and manufacturing, should also contribute to this process, right? Because their inputs are very important to make the products competitive, to make the products acceptable in the market, especially the marketing inputs, as you can understand, right? Because marketing staff, through their market surveys, marketing research, they may study the customer requirements, they may study the existing products, other competitors' products, and then accordingly give the insights, give the inputs to the product development team, how they should make their product a unique product, a competitive product. So that is why marketing should be there. And then can you identify, can you understand why manufacturing staff who are involved in producing products using the production lines, machineries, and the technologies, right? Why the manufacturing staff should be taken part in product development? Well, as you can understand, together with the product, they need to specify the production process, right? Configure the production process, and for that, their inputs, their feedback, their suggestions are very important, right? Their contribution is very important, and that is why these three departments should work together. One might ask, why not finance? Why not accounting? Well, more than accounting, finance contribution is also important, especially to evaluate whether these new product designs are financially feasible, right? And that is a kind of kind of additional work. That's a that is important step, but not, in the main product design, these are the three main departments that should work together, right? So if you are new to this field, have at least this type of simple idea. So product design is decided by a team that comprises of experts coming from these different areas, right? With that, let me quickly move to yeah, please
Excuse
go
me,
ahead.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Please.
how it will be possible in service industry? Manufacturing department is not there, no, in service industry.
Okay, in services, how that would be possible, right? So that is what your question. Well,
Yeah.
coming to service industries, right? As we already identified, maybe for, let's say, very simple practical example would be a place like hotel or a restaurant, because their operations are very much explicit and we can clearly identify, right? So or sometimes at saloons or beautification, or maybe airline services and industries like those. Even in banks, we can clearly identify their service processes, so that those could be typical examples. So to answer your question, how in service industries this should happen, um, exactly, there are individuals or experts who are responsible for service designing projects, and then one team could be the service designing staff, or what we call the product development, right? From service to service, from industry to industry, the relevant experts may be different, and that is different from what we see in manufacturing product development, right? Say for an example, now in furniture manufacturing, right? Even especially in Sri Lankan context, let's say now we have one dairy manufacturer called Damro, right? If you visit their factory and look for product development team, there you will see experts coming from different design backgrounds, right? Especially engineers and all, plus design experts. They together work on these product developments, and they keep developing new designs for furniture items. Taking a simple example like banking or any other financial services like leasing, insurance, or whatever, they are the product development involves in something different, especially the service packages what they design depending on the markets, and then other competitor solutions, and fulfilling the requirements of customers, right? And then they, they are also product development team, but what they do is simply different from what we see in manufacturing, right? Then this product development team in services would mainly involve in specifying the service packages, not necessarily the or operational part of it. So they mainly take the inputs from market, and then from the industry, and they design the service packages. But to make them more practical and operational, they need to think of the service creation processes and service delivery processes as well. So your point is valid. There is no representatives from manufacturing there, but product development team, to complete their project, complete their responsibility fully, they need to take in, they need to consider how the service package, now what they recommend that should be offered to the customers, how they should be creating and delivering them, right? That is the service processes and service creation processes and service delivery processes, right? And that is what we call the service operations. And that is partly relevant to your assignment as well in a way, because your assignment is on service operations, right? So they need to specify not only the service, but how the service is created and delivered. Can I know your name?
Farhan, sir.
Pardon me?
Farhan.
Okay. Now, if I just introduce you one simple technique, what they do, right now, if you go a little further down in the handout, towards end of phase, hope you can see my screen. Now, together with service design, they use, or they develop and they use a kind of document they prepare nicely for the service that we call service blueprints, right? So in this step, especially for new products, this can be even developed for existing services, but for new services, when you do it, it explains how this particular new service will be created and delivered, what are the steps involved, right? And who will be completing what tasks, right? So likewise, so such detailed step-by-step service creation map, service creation flow is what we call service blueprint, right? So together with the service, they need to develop, they need to specify something called service blueprint that shows how the service is created and delivered, right? So if I just show you a sample of it, and then of course some little more details. Now in a service, um, unlike in manufacturing processes, right? Because in manufacturing, at a factory, products are manufactured and they are sent to the market for customers to buy. That is how the manufacturing operations are. But in services, most of the consumer services or customer services, consumer services, services aiming at individuals, to create and deliver services, customers should play a role. Like let's say at a hotel or at a hospital or at a bank, when customer comes, there is what we call lobby staff or the front office staff who involved in taking the customer orders, listening to customers, getting their requirements, and then accordingly decide what they would prefer, right? And that is communicated to the service operations staff, and thereby they create and deliver the service. That is how it happens. So that is same for hospitals, that is same for banks, that is same for beautification or whatever, right? So the service process can be nicely mapped in a document like this. As you see here, one important point in the map here. This is a map, this is a flow chart, and that is called service blueprint. And in the middle here, can you see that's a main line, we call it line of visibility, right? So line of visibility demarcates or separates what customers can see and what customers can involve or may involve in the service, right? Above the line, those are the activities, those are the transactions customers can see in the process, customers may involve in the process, right? And below the line of visibility, right, there are other operations, transactions required in the back office in order to create and deliver the service as required by the customer. But customers can't see them. Customers are not required to see them. Right? So such we call the back office, and the others we call front office operations. So a map like this should be finalized for whatever the new service concept. So it guides the staff. So how this new service is created and delivered. Fun, I think this gives you an idea, right? This is for a bank or lending process, especially like majority of you are coming from service industries. It's important to have an idea about the use of blueprints and the usefulness of it, isn't so?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, if you think of a franchise restaurants also, let's say KFC or Pizza Hut, as I told you earlier, when you order a particular dish or particular food item, menu item, irrespective of the branch, outlet you visit, you tend to get the same quality, same content, same, the same menu item, right? How come? Because they have well specified the service creation and delivery process.
Because
And
right now
blueprint.
in the like I'm working in Wendy's, like a same as a Wendy's food chain, like international food chain,
I
and
see.
also Costa, like
Okay.
like say similar as like Starbucks.
I see.
So
I
we
understand.
have a same process all over the world.
Great. So those
Yeah.
standardized processes are well documented, and then the worker, operating employees are well trained on each and every step, isn't so? So that they make sure every worker, every service creating or the front level and the back office operation staff performing the same thing in the same manner every time, right? And thereby they offer the same quality service every time to all the customers. Isn't so? Yeah, that is the difference between well-defined services and ill-defined services, right? When we go to a local outlet or a kind of a small, restaurant or a hotel, uh, even within the same day, different times, we get different service, right? Because they don't follow the standardized operations procedures. So thank you for sharing your points. So that's about the uh, service design, and then the process part of it. Now, coming to this team-based product development, one point that I just want to introduce you. Now, if you refer to this concept, right? Now we understood when designing new products, it's important to get the contribution from different departments, especially product development team, marketing and manufacturing, right? Now, when they contribute to a project step by step, right, that has been the practice in traditional companies, that is called sequential product design, right? Sequential product design, as the term implies. Now, these departments may contribute to product development in a sequential manner. When one department completes some set of activities, their output is taken to the next department and they will further process likewise. So that there are walls between these departments. They don't work together, although they contribute to the same project. Right? That sequential product design process seems less effective because um, different experts may contribute to the project at different levels, different times, so that it may drag the product development process. So there will be delays in product developments. Say now, marketing team will initially go to the market and study the market requirements and come up with a product concept and further specify into what we call process specification. Performance specification, which means what is required in the market, right? That document they will specify, okay, now given the market competition and the customer's requirements are such, a product that can perform in this way is important, is useful in the market. So that performance specification given to the design engineers, right, product development, so they are supposed to consider those requirements and apply their product design knowledge and the technology knowledge and come up with the details of the product design. We call it design specification, which will be then given to the manufacturing engineers who are coming from the relevant engineering background, industrial engineering background, to specify what kind of manufacturing process would be needed. So process configuration. So that specifies what kind of manufacturing specification is relevant for this product, which is given to the production team, and they will arrange the production line accordingly, place in the machines in a sequential manner as recommended. Then they can be ready with the production process so that the product can be started manufacturing. Right. So although these different individuals contributes, that's a lengthy process, and then of course back and forth, some mistakes, they may go back and it might take further longer time. So sequential design process, although that is useful, it takes longer time. As you can understand, in modern competitive markets, what is important more than anything else is quickly identify the market requirements and responding to them as quickly as possible, right? In other words, we call it the time gap between product concept to market. Right? Whenever new product concept is developed, and then the time gap between the concept to market should be reduced, should be minimized as much as possible, so that that's an advantage to the company. Otherwise, other competitors may also come up with solutions. They may grab the market opportunity. And to minimize that time gap, this has become this approach, what we call now concurrent engineering approach, that has been accepted, that has been used in most of the industries now. As you can see, that the team is working together collaboratively, sharing each other's opinions, their viewpoints at the same table, so that quickly they can decide what is required and what is not required. And then by using their expertise, they will be able to, they are supposed to quickly design new products within short time period, as well as with minimum costs. Right. So hope you get the idea what we call concurrent design and the importance of it a little bit. So this is what is accepted now in the market for most of the product designs. Going back now, I'll come to this little later, but need to introduce you now, right? Because this is the main process explained in textbooks. Explained in textbooks as the benchmark process for product development. Right. Now, according to this, there are how many phases? 9 phases in product development process, starting from idea generation, followed by feasibility analysis and other steps, and coming to product introduction to the market, and thereafter follow-up evaluations. Right. So these are the phases in new product development process. What is recommended as the benchmark process, right? By looking at it, by studying it, management students like you supposed to get an idea how the product development activities of a company be improved, because now this is the benchmark process, but in different organizations that you work for, you may have different approaches, of course, because of the company procedures, company policy, right, and its history, how things have been happen, right, and then of course their priorities are different, their technologies are different, so that each company may have their own product development procedures, but this is the benchmark process that has 9 steps, right? I'm not going to explain things in detail, but I feel like explaining some of these steps are important. So I need your inputs, what you understand and what you don't understand, so that I can quickly explain it. Can you understand the importance of these different phases in modern businesses when they develop new products, and what steps are not so clear, so that I will focus mainly on them. I think you may have studied this maybe for marketing, maybe for some other management subjects as well. What is not so clear in this process? If you are asked to describe the steps in product development process, and then of course explain the importance of that, importance of that. So that is how. No issues. This also the same process. I took this from a different textbook, so you may see from specific functional specification of the product to test market, that type of responsibility is coming under the design and engineering team, whereas the full responsibility is given to the product development team, right, from from initial product concept to final market introduction step, and then follow-ups. Product development team should be responsible for the entire process, whereas the technical activities will be handled by the design and engineering team, as you see here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Could you please explain prototype development in product development process?
Will do. Right. Thank you for that question. Will do. How about others? How about others? When I asked previously whether you have involved in any product development activities or service development activities in organizations you work for, the majority replied. So majority was silent. So that means majority have not involved, it seems, right? So it's good to have an idea how products should be developed. And then of course, in the organization you work for, how they develop products, and because this decision impact almost all the other decisions, right? All the other operations decisions and many other business decisions as well. Say, now can you guess now? I mean, let me ask that question from you. Now, the way the organization design its product, that means their product features and what materials and components they are going to use for production process and everything, right? And then of course the process required, process configuration. So the required machines, the required technology, it's in sequential manner the process should be arranged and everything. How such decisions impact on other operations decisions and other business decisions? What do you think? Is this an important decision? Is this a strategically important decision? What do you think? The way the product is designed, is that an important decision? If so, what are the impacts?
Yes.
Okay, the simple answer is yes. Very good. And then what are the impacts or what are the consequences? Or how this decision would impact on other operations and other business decisions, if you can identify few points, yeah? How product design decision would affect on other decisions? You should have a simple idea. I don't expect a complete answer here.
Research and development cost.
From investment side, from accounting side, you are very much interested in expenses and then the investments. So that of course, yes, depending on the ways, efforts on product development, R&D cost and then product development cost would be determined, right? So if they are ineffective here, right? So sometimes all these product development efforts, after spending thousands to millions to some projects billion projects, right? If the product is not successful in the market, that entire investment or majority of investment would be wasted, right? So that it affect on the R&D cost and the effectiveness of the R&D investment, right? That's very correct, right? So that is the strategic importance of this process. They will have to make sure this process is managed in an effective and efficient manner, so that the investment would be profitable. We always consider ROI, isn't so? Return on investment. So that in any industry, especially in manufacturing, one of the main investments they make is on their new product developments, isn't so? That is the importance. So what are the other points? Write them down. Right? What are the other points? Why? How you can describe the importance of this decision? One thing is R&D expenditure to make it more effective and generate adequate returns. True. What else? Hello, you should be able to see the links.
To compete in the market, sir, to active in the market.
Exactly. Huh? In very simple terms, the way that you design your products and their features, unique features and attractive features, everything determines whether you can face the competition in the market. Yes. So that whether you can compete well in the market compared to the other competitors' solutions. Yeah, that simple. Right? So that is important. In that sense, from marketing side, the way you design your product determines whether you can satisfy your customers in the market. and whether you can compete effectively in the market. Right? And going beyond that, not just the satisfaction, product loyalty, and then of course not only one product. When customers are happy about existing products, you can keep investing on new products and then introduce them to the market and attract the same customers to your new products as well. Right? Now, say for an example, now mobile phones, handheld devices. There are different manufacturers, different brands available in the market. To the up-end market, there is iPhones, right? That they upgrade every 3 months, 6 months with latest features, latest designs, latest technologies and apps, right? And whenever they introduce their latest designs, there is a growing demand, right? And so as the competitors, maybe Samsung, and different product designs they keep introducing to compete with the iPhones, especially aiming at their market segment that is little different than the iPhones market. But still, they have been able to continuously develop new products and upgrade their designs and keep customers with them. Right? So as the other mobile phone brands. So that determines the customer satisfaction. Yes. What else? Hello. Hello. Saman Malay. Your mic is switched on. Yeah. Was that a mistake, or you want to contribute something here? Okay. I expect more answers from you because you are practicing professionals now, accounting field, but you should be able to give more answers because school leavers, like those who join the program after A-levels, they give a lot of practical examples than this. At least you should be able to see now. The way they design the product may specify what materials are required, what components are required, then what technologies are required, isn't so? So accordingly, the let's say technology managers will have to check whether the existing technologies are enough or whether they need to upgrade the technologies, what new machines are required, and everything. Can you understand it? Yeah. So that is the importance of product design decision. And then depending on the components or materials required, they need to then decide whether to manufacture those components within the same business through internal operations, or decide whether we should buy them from external suppliers, right? And consequently, and that affect that decision. That decision is called sourcing decision, or what we call make or buy decision, right? One of the important operations decisions or supply decisions, right? Make or buy decisions. As you can understand, make refers to producing such components or parts internally through internal operations, right? Buy refers to selecting suppliers and purchasing from them. So they will have to strategically analyze which sourcing decision is good, more effective, right? So such depend on the product design, right? And then of course, like most of the management accountants, cost accountants, interested in product cost, right? Hope you can understand the cost of the product depends on the way that is designed and the features they are going to offer them together, right? The product cost depends on product design. Service cost depends on service design, right? And then depending on the market demand, profit margin you can maintain, right? That depends on the product design. Can you understand it? So altogether the profitability, not only the customer satisfaction and the revenue, even the profitability ultimately may be influenced by the product design, right? If you think further, say for an example now, supply network, right? What components are required, from whom we are going to buy them, right? And then what are the most critical components required, everything, right, should be decided based on the product design, right? So that our what type of supply network is required, right? From where we are going to purchase, whether we are going to purchase from local suppliers or global suppliers, right? And supply network arrangements, everything would be depend on product design decision, right? So hope you can in fact I gave you few reasons, few points, right? But when you think together, I think you understand how important this decision is. So that it is very important for any business in any industry to develop their products efficiently and effectively, and for that the best benchmark process recommended is this, right? This begins with idea generation, which means identifying various new product ideas that has a market potential, that has a market opportunity, right? So different businesses may generate ideas from different sources, right? Do you know what are the common sources used? What could be the useful sources to generate new product ideas? Quickly. This is what happens. Yeah, I mean, with online sessions.
Understand, sir, what is competitors are doing, like
Great.
what products they are introducing. Yeah.
Great, Farhan. That is one of the main ways to generate new ideas. So maybe through market surveys or marketing research, and then of course competitor analysis, what we call, Farhan. Yes, through such activities and with the support of marketing, businesses will be able to identify what are the new opportunities available for us to develop new products. Yes, true. Competitor analysis and all, market analysis would be one starting point. Likewise, there are other options also. Can one or two can come up with new ideas? Write them down, right? So those are the idea generation sources. What do you think? Hello?
Using marketing research.
Well, great, Madhushani. Uh, mm, Conducting marketing research time to time, right? Market surveys, marketing research, uh, exploring existing customers and getting their ideas and all. Yes, true. That gives you new ideas, new insights as to what they would prefer to have in the market, right, compared to whatever the already available products. Yes, true. Through marketing research, market surveys, we can. Right? And in your understanding, what are the other sources? Well, most of the time, companies depends on their internal team work on product development. It could be the product development or more than that, R&D. Right? So R&D departments, time to time, based on their new research projects and all, right? They may develop new technologies, and accordingly new product ideas, new product concept may be developed based on that. That is the most accepted, most commonly used technique here, right? And I mean, I think this is the right time to introduce you these two concepts as well. Now I ignored it, that I skipped earlier. So there are these two new product design approaches that we can commonly identify as different practices. As you see, the first one, product-based design, is the traditional way of designing products. Most of the traditional companies, right, supplying products, designing products based on this approach. We call it product-based design. And the second one is the latest, right? This is aligned with the marketing approach. We call it the value-based design. Now, what is the main difference you see here in these two approaches? In the first approach, the company begin with the new product concept first of all, right? They internally develop the product concept, and then all the other features and all accordingly assess or estimate the cost of the product, based on which the price of the product will be set, and that consequently determines what customers would get at what price, the value, right? And that is offered to the customers. So starting from product, ending with customers, right? Consequently, alternatively, the value-based design, starting from the market, they go to the market, get inputs from the market, and then decide what customers would expect, the value they would expect. And based on the value they are going to offer, they set the price, and consequently they estimate the standard cost or the cost of the product that they can set for the product, right? So considering them, the standard cost and the value that they promise to the customers, they then decide the product, right? And that approach is called the value-based design or the marketing approach for product design. Now different companies, they may use different approaches. For our studying purpose, we can broadly classify them into these two, right? Now, some industries, even high-tech industries, even today, they are following the first approach, product-based design, because that is the most effective approach for their product design. Whereas some other products, especially fashion designs or industries where competition is very high and suppliers there are many suppliers, alternative products and all, right? They may be using the second approach as the most effective approach, value-based design. Since we run short of time, I'm not going to provide more details here, but can accommodate one of your questions on these two approaches. Are these two clear, or do you have some doubts or some further clarifications? Product design approaches.
Clear, sir.
Great. Now let me ask this simple question then. Now, in your opinion, out of these two, which approach is more appropriate in product development, and why?
So we can't say one approach. It is based on the product. This is
that is Madhushani, right?
yes.
Yeah, I really appreciate that answer. That is the understanding you need to have, right? Well, it depends. It depends on the industry. It depends on the business, right? It depends on the product that we are considering. So especially the industry. So depending on the industry, they'll have to specify which approach would be more effective. Yes, for some industries, product-based design would be appropriate. Say for an example now, let's say pharmaceutical items, right? Or various different machineries and equipments, healthcare equipments, tools developed, right? So if you think for a while, more than the market, they think of the technologies, right? And based on the latest technologies, they come up with the products that has more usage and accordingly set the prices and specify the value for the customers, and that is what they are offering to the customers, right? So even high tech, right? When the technologies are changing, they may follow the first approach, right? With the new technologies, new products are designed, and that is the starting point, and that is sent to the market. Whereas in highly competitive markets, say now let's say for an example, like in services, let's say airline services, right? More than that, because technology is almost same, right? There are no major innovations that we can see, but different market segments may have different market requirements, right? So, well, that is they are traveling, but in their travel, what they would expect, right? And accordingly, they come up with different service packages. They specify the value for which they set the prices, and for that package they specify the cost, and accordingly the package elements, right? What comes under this package? Maybe the business class, first class, and then economy class, right? In various different airline providers, they come up with different packages, maybe that they developed using a value-based design approach, right? From that to many other industries that you can identify, right? So it depends. Yes, Madhushani, your answer is correct. So different approaches are there, but decision makers should select the best approach. So accordingly, the ideas can be generated from the market or from technology or the internal teams or maybe employees, whatever. And before taking the ideas forward, there should be some feasibility analysis, what they call, in this development process, right? Now, when it comes to feasibility, as you know, they should assess whether this product idea, or what we call product concept now, would have a higher rate of success in the market, right? And for that, there are different analysis, feasibility analysis. More importantly, there are these marketing feasibility analysis, the market feasibility. And then, of course, the second most important aspect would be the financial. So financial feasibility of the product idea. Right? Hope you can see the difference between market feasibility and the finance feasibility. Right? Market is all about the demand and the profitability. I mean, the volume and the growth of the volume. Right? Whether there is a sufficient market for the product, whereas the financial feasibility is about return on investment, right? So the investment required and the return that we can expect, and thereby the profitability, right? In addition to these two, maybe the technical feasibility or technological feasibility and the business feasibility. Likewise, there are different levels, so that they will filter out all the infeasible ideas and select the most feasible ideas only to the next level, probably one or two at a time, for which they go for the product spec, that they specify how the product should perform, right? This is a document that they specify all the product details, design features and all, right? And at the same time, process spec should be prepared. That is the details of the process required in order to produce the product. Right now, up to that point, all these are planning steps, and in the next process, but in the next step, what we call prototype development, based on all these design specifications, the basic version of the product will be developed, will be finalized, will be manufactured. That initial version is called the prototype. Right now, that is the physical prototype. If they develop that product as a first version of the product, using the same material, let's say an automobile, the initial version of the product will be manufactured for the new design. That is a prototype of it, right? Maybe using the same components as specified, or maybe using synthetic materials also. And what is popular now is, now for product designing and all, unlike good old days, a lot of software solutions are available, and then we call them computer aided designing, CAD, right? And then other design software solutions are there. So using them, you can come up with virtual prototypes, what they call, right? 3D versions of them, so that the exact features of the product, their dimensions, how they operate, how, I mean almost all the details can be incorporated into those virtual prototypes also, and then can be improved faster, right? So those are those are the new ways to develop the prototypes now. Hope you got an idea, right? And those initial prototypes will be further reviewed to improve them, right? To, let's say, now there are different concepts involved there. I will not explain things in detail, but maybe for, there are techniques like computer designing, and there are techniques like standardization, right? That means offering only standardized products, right? To reduce the complexity of the product, right? Offering one version of the product. And then another concept called modular design, right? That means the final version of the product may comprise of different modules. Modules are standardized, right? So standardized components are designed. Depending on custom orders, they will combine them separately, right? And then offer customized products when products are designed as modular designs, right? So things like that. And let's say, for an example, now mobile phones, if you disassemble it, right, you may almost see the same components inside the mobile phone, right? So those are module designs assembled in a different way, unique way, that gives different performances, right? So accordingly, different mobile designs give different usefulness, or the different performance to different users, right? Because they are designed in such a manner, right? So by designing mobile phones using this type of standardized modular designs or regular components, lot of operations activities can be simplified. Say, for an example, now this is an iPhone, little older version of it. So there are different suppliers providing various these components, right? From internal hard drive parts and camera to screen to various case into various other parts, right? As you see them here. So they can then work on identifying different suppliers who can supply the best component in each category, and then combine them together or assemble them together to get the best performing final product, right? So that is the advantage, so that they don't have to manufacture all these internal components within. Components are readily available. That is the importance of it. So such we call modular designing that has gained a lot of popularity, right? So what you see here is furniture designs, and most of them are modular designs, right? So that you may have heard some furniture manufacturers like IKEA, right? Malaysian based or Southeast Asian based furniture manufacturers. I mean, most of their furniture items, they do not configure them, they do not assemble them, right? Whereas customers can select different modules and assemble them together into their requirements and get design customized furniture items as they want, right? So different colors, different components as they want, they can configure together and then they can have their own customized furniture. It's a simple example, right? So computer assembling, laptop assembling, right? Most of the internal parts are modular designs, and then they can offer customized solutions. So that type of solutions, right? This is a pantry products, right? Different parts are designed separately, and depending on the customer's requirement, they put them together, assemble them together, so that customized final solution can be offered. And with this, there are a lot of operational advantages, as you can understand. So the space requirements for storing these different parts, very small spaces are required. They can handle these inventory items faster and economically, right? Transport them easily, right? And assemble them at customer's place even, and offer customized solutions. All these have become possible because of these new design improvements. We call them modular designs. Right? So a lot of operational complexities have been simplified. In addition to that, there are other design concepts like value engineering, that is to simplify the nature of the product, right? Further improving. Hope you can remember the good old days, the size of a computer, the PC, right? And now what is the size of a computer? They have simplified the process. We call it value engineering or value analysis, or simple terms, simplification, right? And at the same time, there are similar practices, similar concepts, what we call DFM. DFM, design for manufacture, or at the same time design for assembly, which means when they design the product, they carefully analyze how easily, how economically the product can be manufactured, right? And that together we call it DFMA, right? Design for manufacture and assembly, product review technique, right? So that the complicated product can be further simplified, so that the new design is easy to manufacture, easy to assemble, so that the manufacturing cost, manufacturing complexity can be reduced. That has gained a lot of popularity, right? So likewise, those are few techniques coming under design review. I just gave you a few examples, and different industries they can think. That resulted in a final version, further improved version, that will be tested in the market before going for the product introduction. So as you understand, market test is all about the final product, or the finalized product will be produced in small scale, small volume, and using some amount of marketing efforts, they will be introduced to the market first. For what? Initially to get the market response, whether there will be favorable, positive response, or how the market will respond to that. And based on such responses, whatever the required small or minor changes will be adjusted, and then they will go to the final step of it. We call it the product launch or the product introduction. So that involves in large scale production and introducing to the market as they plan, according aligning with all the other marketing strategies and all, right? Is that the end? No, probably. After maybe 3 months, 6 months, regular intervals, they will conduct some follow-up sessions, follow-up evaluations, and based on the responses they get, they might make slight adjustments to the products and all, and make it more appropriate to the market. So likewise, a new product, in order to develop it and to the introduce to the market, a process like this would be more appropriate, and that is called the product development process. Can you understand the importance of this process and the benefits organization would experience when they follow these processes? I'm not going to give you more details on that. If you have a simple idea, that is enough. We talked about how products should be developed, what practices should be used and all. Any quick questions? Well, I take your silence in my favor. So I hope this is understood. Let's take a 10 minutes break, I guess. 10 minutes enough? Is that? Or 15 minutes? Okay, we'll take a 15 minutes break and start the second half around 10:30 local time. Yeah. Hello. 10:30 local time.
Okay, sir.
15 minutes break. Meantime, if you can go through the remaining part of the topic, we can complete it within 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Right, I'm back. Hope you all are there. Hello. Hope you all are there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Let's quickly complete the remaining part as well. So we were talking about another important decision-making areas in not only in operations but for the entire business. But more specifically for operations, there are implications in this decision. So product design. For that, we identified different approaches, and here we identified a process that has several phases. Having said that, I also reminded you in different industries, different organizations may have their own practical ways that they have gradually developed, that they have gradually learned how they should develop products, right? So in the organization you work for, maybe as accountants, maybe as finance managers or whatever, one day, or maybe auditors, you need to be familiar with their product development related projects and what they have done. And then of course, if you are required to give your comments, observations, you should be able to give your suggestions or comments. And for that, I think some of this basic knowledge, basic ideas would be useful. Going beyond that, if you want to improve your organizations, maybe as audit firms, maybe as accounting firms, thinking or knowing that how services can be improved and all, how services can be designed and all will be useful. Right. We talked about this process. Do you have any questions or doubts? Whatever the other concepts we identified here, I didn't explain this, but other concepts. You don't have to worry much about these different concepts. Just have an idea, that is enough, right? Do you have any doubts? Seems no. So one or two more, yeah.
Can you explain further details of service blueprint?
Okay, what is not clear there? I couldn't see your name, but what is not clear there and what you need to know a little more further on that?
Like how to draw it
Okay.
based on the relevant industry, likewise.
Thank you for that question. We'll try to elaborate a little more. And some others, if you have some similar questions related to service blueprint, what they are. I'll try to explain a little bit. In fact, I feel like, yes, why not? Why not you may use it for your assignment as well, because hope you remember the assignment, the group assignment of your, I mean, I was thinking about it during the break as well. Now this concept, this tool, service blueprint, is a kind of flow chart we develop for the service processes, right? Now your assignment is based on existing services of an organization, and you have to describe what the service is, how they are offering it as of now, and then some improvements to make it maybe more efficient, maybe to complete the processes faster, maybe to improve the quality or whatever, or maybe to make it less costly, right? So likewise, and in that you may effectively use this tool initially to map what is the existing service process, right? So you can, in simple terms, you can develop a service blueprint for the existing service process, right? I will explain you a little more details as you also requested here. And then what you can do next is, based on your suggestions, whatever the improvements you make here, you can also suggest a new service blueprint for the improved service, so that it's very clear right? So what is happening as of now and what you recommend for them to do as the improvement. So based on that, you can easily comment. So what improvements you have suggested, how that would result in lower cost, faster completion and higher quality, and then of course more efficient work in the process likewise. So for that, now your question, how service blueprint can be developed, that's a very important and useful question. Everything depends on the type of information you have. If you as an expert, as an outsider, or maybe as a student here, try to study a service process and try to develop a service blueprint, more than anything else, what you need is data or information about what? About the existing service process, right? So the starting point, as you may guess, as you can understand, is to go to the field, go to the service operations field and collect data as much as possible. Probably you may start with managers, ask from them how the services are created and delivered as of now. You may also go to the service flow, maybe the front office employees and the back office operations, back office staff, and collect data as much as possible what they do, right? Because if you ask from the beginning to the end what exactly they do, they don't have information, right? They don't know the entire process. What they know is what they do, right? Maybe very limited tasks. So you as an expert expected to collect those information from each individual and put them together into one whole process. And based on that, now you have information, you may initially develop it as a description, a list of items, how the service is created and all, right? That detailed description is the base, is the initial document you prepare. That can be converted into a service blueprint by carefully developing that into a blueprint, right? So that is how it happens anyway. So for that, you need, first of all, as I told you, the list of activities performed in that service, right? In which sequential order, right? Now coming to the step, right? What you should, how you should develop a service blueprint. It's a good starting point to demarcate what is the line of visibility applicable for this business. Say for an example, now what you see here in this illustration, the line of visibility, this is for a bank, right? This is for a lending company that accept customer applications for loans and then process them internally, and then upon the verification and approval, they transfer the money to the customer's accounts, right? That's such a simple operation that is documented here, right? So there, the line of visibility, they have clearly identified, okay, at the branch level, when customers come to collect loan applications or contact the loan officer initially to get the details of loans related details, that is the starting point. And all the activities that customers involve are beyond the line of visibility, above the line of visibility, front office activities, right? And below the line of visibility, we call them back office. So who develop or who design it? Now the decision maker should specify, okay, what is the demarcation point, line of visibility, right? In each and every business that could be varied, right? Now say for an example, now let's say now you take immigration office or passport office, what we call, and you identify what are the steps involved in the application collection and evaluation process, and then approving the authentication, the applications and all, then issuing the passports and all, right? So in each and every area, you can identify, okay, what are the front office related activities, what are the back office activities, right? Demarcating them, you can draw the line of visibility, and then you can nicely draw in which sequential manner these processes are arranged as of now, right? And there usually a decision making point is denoted by, you know, a decision making process. Like if now let's say now, hope you can understand the decision, employee decision, right? Say now application is submitted for a new let's say renewal of existing passport, right? Initially the application is submitted, that there can be a verification officer who should go through the list of documents attached and make sure all the required documents are attached to the application, right? So there can be a decision, employee decision, with a checklist whether all the required details and evidences are attached to the application. If that is if all the documents are there, yes, that is forwarded to the next level, next step. What if at least one or few documents are not there? So that is a fail point. So then there should be another direction. What happens next, right? So likewise, right? And then sometimes the entire process will be stopped before going further. So that is a fail point, as you see it here, right? And then in customer services, in service processes, there can be customer waits where without actively contributing to the service process, customers will have to wait for few minutes to few days, few weeks sometimes, right? So that is the waiting time, right, in the process. So we can show that as well in the blueprint, right? And usually the activities, right, in the service process can be denoted by this type of symbols, right? What we call activity. It could be verification of something. It could be completing one initial step of the service, right? Or maybe sending that to the approval of another high authority likewise, right? So such we call activities that can be denoted by this symbol, right? So likewise, there are different symbols that we can use. Otherwise, depending on your choice, you can also highlight, okay, these are the symbols we have used, and mention them as the key here, right? And accordingly nicely develop the blueprint. Is that clear? So that is the starting point. Is that clear? And can you understand? Yes. Yeah. Can you understand that this can be used as a part of your assignment to nicely identify what is the existing service processes for the selected business, selected operation, and then now when you go through it, rather than a list of activities, when you look at the blueprint, you can identify easily what are the weak points in the existing process. It could be unnecessary customer waiting. It could be more complicated service processes that delays the service process, that make the service process more complicated, right? So in your improvements, you may suggest to simplify the process by removing some unnecessary steps, unnecessary waiting time in the process, unnecessary complexity in the process, right? So that the new blueprint would suggest better, more efficient service process. So likewise, I hope you can understand it. Just ignore these other two lines if that make your understanding more complicated, like what we call line of interaction here and line of internal interaction here. These are also useful demarcations, but it makes the service blueprint a little more complicated, right? right? Um, as you see here, the time is also mentioned, so that from start to the end, how long it would take is mentioned here. And in addition to that, especially who involves in it, right? As you see here, who involves in it, who is responsible for each task can be mentioned in the blueprint itself. So those are additional information. If you are in a position to incorporate them, that's good. Otherwise, just map the process. In fact, this is called process mapping. For services, process mapping tool is the service blueprint. This will be a useful document for anyone. First of all, to map the existing processes and thereby educate everyone. Okay, this is the standardized practice. Everyone should follow it. And then, of course, whatever the improvements you can develop based on these maps. Other details. In addition to that, in product development and all, there are various different product design documents they need to come up with as outputs of this process, right? So here I have mentioned a few such documents in product design exercises. We call them, there can be various different engineering drawings, right? That specifies, that illustrates the nature of the product design, what components fit in which manner, and all the other technical details and dimensions as well. Right. So what you see here is one such. This is what we call bill of materials. This is a document finalized for each and every new product. You may be familiar with this idea. I have given a simple example here. This is for a skateboard, a very simple product, right? Now, bill of materials, hope you have heard of this term, BOM, that lists out all the materials and especially the components required for one final output and which quantities they are needed, that are usually presented in what we call product structures, right? Shows in product structure. What you see here is one such simple product structure, right? For a simple product like skateboard. This is just to get an idea, but I hope you can understand the complexity of other complicated products. Now, skateboard, to produce 1 unit of skateboard, these are the 4 main components required, right? 4 wheels and 1 board, 2 axles and 8 screws. Putting together, you will be able to assemble 1 unit of skateboard. And when it comes to 4 wheels, 1 wheel may comprise of 1 unit of tire and 1 rim and 4 screws here. That is to get 1 unit of wheels, and we need 4 such wheels to 1 skateboard. So detailed document like this is what we call bill of materials, which is a highly useful document that will be used in planning the materials, right? And then, of course, determining how many materials required to produce given outputs. And there are other details also, other usage also, right? This is one such document. For services also, not necessarily in the same manner, but if this tool can be used, something similar like this can be developed for products, something for services, but this is highly used in manufacturing industries, and we call them bill of materials, right? Especially when it comes to MRP, right? Materials requirements planning. This is one such important document required to calculate material requirements. So in product designing, they need to specify it. In addition to that, there can be other engineering drawings like this, right? Engineering drawing for each and every component of the product, right? So the how the component look like, other technical dimensions, details will be presented, will be illustrated in these type of engineering drawings, right? And then other documents which are required in the production process, right? Especially these two, assembly drawings and assembly charts, right? Assembly drawings, as you see here, illustrates how different parts and components would fit together, right? So that is an exploded version of a product, exploded view of a product that shows which parts may fit where in the product, right? So these are outputs of the product design process. Outputs of product design process. So you may have seen something similar, such figures, such illustrations in user manuals and all, right? Have you seen? So so for customers to have an idea how the final product has been assembled, which parts fit in where and all, these details are illustrated in customer or user manuals as well, but essentially for manufacturing and assembling purposes, these are useful documents. And then other documents like assembly charts, how these steps and other manufacturing steps, assembling steps fit together to finally complete the full product. So full details are given here and other details are also here, right? I think you understand these as outputs of product design process, which are useful not only in the product design but also in making a lot of manufacturing decisions, supply decisions, and many other decisions. Now, before moving to the last part, I will pay attention to this concept also. We call it one of the important concern here in today's markets when designing products, that is called design for customer, right? That has gained a lot of popularity now. Designing for customers. Here this concept is designing for environment, right? Now, as you can understand, so given the higher demand, given the higher demand for more environmental friendly products now in the market, especially the developed part of the world, right? Products are now being designed in a manner that contributes minimum environmental pollution, right? That concept is called design for environment. So in other words, green design, environmental friendly designs, or DFE, design for environment, right? So where the main emphasis is on designing products in a way that they can be recycled and thereby reduce the impact on environment, right? Or else designing the product using recycled materials, right? That has gained also a lot of popularity, right? So that the product may not only reduce the environmental impact, sometimes it may contribute to reduce already damaged in already polluted environment. Say for an example, now let's say fabric in apparel manufacturing. In apparel manufacturing, the main material required for apparels is fabrics, right? Now, anyway, fabric manufacturing is depending on the fabric type, from cotton to denim to various other, right? As you may be aware, that contributes environmental pollution heavily, right? So apparel industry is one such industry that has contributed to higher environmental impacts, right? Likewise, there are other industries also more harmful than fabric, but there are impacts in fabric manufacturing also. In your understanding, what are the most environmental damaging industries? In which industries are more contributing to environmental damage?
Polythene.
Polythene, plastic-based products, yeah, to a great extent they are contributing because the outputs cannot be recycled. Yeah, true. What else? What are the other industries as you think, as you know? Adding to your point, yes, that is why in polythene manufacturing, plastic manufacturing and all now, there are minimum standards on their grade, right? So to make it biodegradable or I mean recycle, so there are different minimum standards they should maintain when they manufacture such products, maybe polythene, maybe certain types of plastics. And then when it comes to products like plastic, enhance the product life, I mean the duration, so that customers may use the same product again and again for a very long time, so that they don't have to buy new products, right? So that thereby we can reduce the environmental damage and things like those, right? So things are like that, polythene and plastic, but more than that there are other industries.
Fuel and energies.
Yes, that has been one of the main concerns. What now we call fossil-based energy, like whatever the energy sources we have now, from vehicles to aircrafts to many other, right? Now most of the products which are based on fuel-based energy are converted into renewable energy sources, as you are aware. So like, let's say, automobiles now being designed as hybrid vehicles, electrical vehicles, EVs and all. And then there where they try to minimize the environmental impacts of automobile industry with the latest technology and all, right? So there are different arguments whether they are performing well, operating well, performance of the automobiles, are they same or lower than normal, whatever it is, those discussions are there. But we have to accept that there's a growing demand for green products, green designs, so that design to at least to cater that market demand, right? Businesses are now thinking of designing the products in an environmental friendly manner. Going beyond that, right? Going beyond that market demand, businesses are now managed aligning with these new business philosophies. What we now, if I just mention a few, now we have this triple bottom line approach, so right? So triple bottom line approach. In addition to profits, there are other approaches, other perspectives, especially plant and people and planet, right? I'm sorry. So in addition to profits, people and planet. So the planet, that is all about securing or minimizing the environmental damage, right? So performing better in terms of environmental protection and all, right? So planet. Um, so going beyond the market demand, organizations are responsible now. I mean, we accept that organizations are responsible for minimizing the environmental damages in their businesses. So for that, I mean, few examples I just want to cite. You came up with the automobile industry, of energy industry. So most of these energy power plants, like coal power plants and various other fossil-based energy plants are converted, or sometimes they are discontinuing them and investing on new power plants like wind power, and then solar power and all, right? So that is good. Then fertilizer is one main industry that contributes to a lot of environmental pollution, right? So certain things we cannot avoid, we can't avoid, but fertilizer manufacturing and various such, right? So in general, these are few ways to reduce the environmental impacts. We call it designing the product that can be repair easily, right? So that when certain parts are damaged, only those parts can be replaced, and then the product can be reused. Minimizing the unnecessary packaging, because most of the packaging materials are more damaging or more harmful to the environment, like polythene to various other synthetic materials. So minimize unnecessary packaging and minimize the improve the product efficiency, so that use of energy during the manufacture and during the usage and after this after usage disposal, how that would reduce the environmental impacts and all. That is very important, right? And designing products with minimal materials, minimum components has also gained a lot of popularity. Simple products, minimum material usage, so that requirement of natural resources are minimum. So those are called design for environment that are important. So there are service implications, hope you can understand, right? As the last point here, let's pay attention to the most important point that I quickly ignore here. I mean, quickly skipped at the beginning. So this is the last point. Within 5 to 10 minutes, we will conclude the session. Now, we talked about different product design approaches, product design concepts and practices. But now to see how in industries they're performing them, how they have organized their product development activities, we can clearly identify these two main type of practices, right? One is that we call using in-house teams, meaning they have within the business they manage these product development activities either through their own dedicated teams such as R&D, right? Especially in large scale, more than medium scale, in large scale and multinational companies, right? That they are capable of investing more money and other resources on R&D. They have their dedicated teams who are specialized in R&D, so that annually they allocate a lot of funds, a lot of resources on R&D, especially global leaders in each industry. They have their dedicated R&D teams, from food processing companies like Nestle to, right, Coca-Cola, Pepsi to, right? They have dedicated R&D teams working on their products. And then of course technology driven products, so mobile phones to laptops to technology products, right? R&D units, especially in multinational companies. Then automobile to various other technology driven products, Toyota to Mercedes-Benz, right? They have well dedicated R&D teams working on technologies and products, right? And especially IT solutions, from software solutions to various different hardware items, right? So Google to Facebook to and various other, SpaceX to all the other, right? So dedicated R&D teams. There are a lot of advantages for them. In the long term, they consider that as an investment, that as an asset. However, another approach that they manage product development work within the firm is using product development project teams, which means they form temporary project teams. Of course, they are cross-functional teams, which means experts from different departments, especially marketing, product development, and manufacturing, and finance, or any other related fields. Few experts will be formed together into a project management team, and they will be given the responsibility coming up with a new product and designing it, and then help the organization to develop them. Right? So internally they manage it, but not with a dedicated team. They are cross-functional temporary teams. Right? So in most of the case, medium-scale firms who are unable to have dedicated teams may be using this. I have seen, and you may have also experienced. Right? However, both, I mean, there are a lot of advantages when organizations managing products development within the firm, especially as you can understand now. They will understand the internal situation, internal environment. They understand the market really well. They are well into the technology, right? So the technology that they already use and all, so that they can come up with whatever the most appropriate products to the market, appropriate products to the business when they use internal teams. Right? So that is one main advantage, as you can understand. And more than that, most of the companies consider this as their one of the competitive advantages, because when they have a strong product development team in-house, their capabilities, their R&D capabilities help the company again and again and again to be competitive in the market. So investing on them, that will bring long-term benefits. Right? That's a capability they can have. And at the same time, many companies invest on that because they can get the copyrights for their products, patented products and all. Then of course they can protect their product details, confidentiality within the business. So likewise, right? So in-house teams are used. Nevertheless, right, during the last 2 to 3 decades, the second approach has become more practical and more efficient in product designing. What is that? We call it use of external specialized firms and get their support, their assistance, and thereby design products more efficient manner. That we call outsourcing. Right? So product design work is outsourced to external specialized firms. So there are expert firms, right? Maybe private sector or the profit-oriented businesses, or maybe research and development institutes operating separately, or maybe operating with the funds of governments, right? Or maybe different industries, right? So they are undertaking assignments from their clients and they support them at a fee. Right? So that has gained a lot of popularity. That is one, I mean, because that is their business, right? They keep investing on latest technology. So they establish new facilities like new labs, new tools and equipments. More than that, the new technology and people like the scientists and lab staff, right? Product developers and all, right? They recruit the most competent people because that is their business, right? And they offer their services at a competitive price. So there are advantages for businesses when they outsource their product design to such companies. So they can get the best best technology in the world, up-to-date technology, and best design concepts from well-qualified and experienced people, experts in the field, at a fee, right? So initial investment is very limited, very low. Only for the work you get done from the expert, you will have to pay. right? So no need of maintaining long, the expensive R&D units in the long run, but they can still keep developing new products and introducing them to the market uh, in an efficient manner. For that matter, this has gained a lot of popularity. That is what. However, firms may combine these two as well sometimes. For studying purpose, we divide them, but organizations may combine them and use. Is that clear? So with that, I guess we can conclude this topic, right? So what did we discuss today? It's about product designing and service designing, right? So we talked about why this is needed, what are the advantages, why this is needed, and then what is the importance. Then of course we identified different approaches available for product designing, right? Product based, value based, and more importantly we identify a process, right? A product development process that has several steps or phases. And at the same time, we identified different product designing related concepts. And finally, we identified two main practices available or practices used by organizations to manage their product development projects, product development activities, right? So I hope you have a simple idea now. So hope we have achieved the learning outcomes. At the same time, don't ignore what we call product redesign, and in that matter, process redesign and process improvement as well, right? If I take 1 minute to explain that, product redesign is all about, as you can understand, now existing products may require some quick improvements, right? In the sense, certain older features may be removed from the product and some newer features may be added to the product, so that products may require product redesigning. Now say for an example, now television is an old product, right? Now probably 2 decades ago we had, even at the beginning of 21st century, we had those big televisions, right? Now the technologies have been changed, so they redesigned the televisions into different shapes with the updated technology, especially the screen, right? LED, right? Initially LCD, what they call, now they call LCD. Now more than that, the curved screens, and then of course what they call touch screen televisions, and then internet ready features, likewise more color, more other features and latest technology. So they have redesigned the products in a way that they're highly demanded in the market. So automobiles, the same product, but they have redesigned them to match with the changing market requirements. So product redesigning is very important. So as service redesigning, when you change the product features, product characteristics and all, processes should also be redesigned. That is called process redesign or process improvements, or commonly known as process re-engineering, right? Even for existing products, product process re-engineering can be done. Hope you can get it, right? Re-engineering, which means changing the existing way of production to reduce the complexity of the process, to reduce the cost, to reduce the steps involved in production process. Likewise, process re-engineering is important. That reminded me one more concept that has gained a lot of popular. We call it now product reverse engineering, right? Product reverse engineering. Have you heard of it? Right? That's a very simple idea, but that has gained a lot of popularity and more efficient as well. That's all about, yeah. Product re-engineering. product reverse engineering. Now, reverse engineering is all about, now companies may study new products introduced by their competitors, right? They do not conduct product designing initially, but they will examine their competitors' new products, right? In the sense, what are the new features, what components they have used, how they have assembled them together, right? So like they reverse engineer the product so that they quickly learn how the product is manufactured with minimum quality product development efforts. And as a result of it, they can design the product faster, right? Maybe sometimes better than the original product, right? And thereby they also can manufacture the product or introduce the product to the market quickly at lower cost. So when it comes to product design, this latest practice, what we call product reverse engineering, has also become more efficient and more important. Clear? So I hope we managed to cover sufficient content here on this topic and thereby help you getting a simple idea about what we mean by product design, service design, and process design, and the importance of it and their impacts on other operations management decisions, and more importantly, how these activities should be performed in an organization. That may help you understanding how accountants and financial professionals should assist businesses to carry out these activities. Any quick questions? 1 or 2 minutes? No? I hope then we can conclude it here since we run short of time. Appreciate your participation. Hope to see you next week physically, at least majority of you. Appreciate again your active participation, those who actively took part. That made the lecture more interactive and live. Appreciate everyone, right? Hope to see you next week. Take good care of yourself.